Alright, so I asked all of you what would be 3 frames that desperately need a buff or a rework. After getting answers from both YouTube, Facebook, and people in the game, this is what I got. The rules I set for this list though is that augments and weapon synergy is not going to be taken into consideration because we're focusing on the frames themselves. So with all that said, let's get started.
I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
So to kick things off, we got Vauban as number 3. Now before you throw a fit in the comments, hear me out. Number 3 was the hardest spot to pick because I basically had to think of what Warframe I could be the most nitpicky about on what could be changed or reworked. But I wouldn't blame you or be remotely surprised if we just went ahead and skipped to number 2. But with that in mind, let's get this started. Now I was very reluctant to put Vauban on this list at all, but I can definitely see where people are coming from. He is a personal favorite Warframe of mine, but after using him for so long, I can definitely see where there's problems in his kit. He's a great CC frame with his Bastel and Vortex, basically leaving enemies to the mercy of your poor aim. But his 1 and 2 on the other hand are completely borderline useless or just unnecessary in modern Warframe. His 1 is so weak that you're often going to forget it's even there and likely never even use it. In all honesty, I'm surprised Tesla Grenade isn't just part of his 2's kit. And basically everything in his 2 is completely useless in modern day Warframe, except for Shred. Shred can remove low level enemies' armor, but that's the key word there, low to mid level enemy Grineer. After that, maybe level 70-ish, I don't see a difference anymore even after you throw like 6 Shred grenades. Overall, he's a great Warframe whose first 2 abilities you'll likely never use, and that's where a set buff or rework could really come in. But as long as Bastel and Vortex honestly work and stay the same way they are, Nidus and him kind of have the whole sucking enemies together into a neat little ball thing down. His parts only dropping from alerts can be kind of annoying, especially for those who go to school or have work or have a family, but all in all, he's not in bad shape. Just needs something done with his 1 and 2. So with him out of the way, let's move on to number 2.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Alright, so now we're getting into the meat of things. We got Zephyr. Now I remember when Zephyr first came out, I immediately knew that she'd be a frame that struggled as the game updated. Especially after Parkour 2.0 came out, which made her utility abilities borderline pointless if not utterly useless. This was supposed to be the bird or wind frame, but she must be an ostrich or something because so far Titania is the only one that can fly, effectively. Her 1 is pretty much just a boosted bullet jump, and that's about it. It can be utilized when outside or in long hallways. Her 2 is literally her just smacking her face into the ground from the air. Why DE thought this was ever going to be a good ability idea, I'll never know, because melee slams do the exact same thing but actually do damage and doesn't cost 50 energy. Her biggest saving grace is definitely her 3. It's like Mesa's Shatter Shield, but actually better. Its only weakness is melee attacks and infested and explosions. Basically anything that isn't a bullet or a laser. Her 4 is a great damage CC. Personally, I like it more for the CC versus the damage. It doesn't really do a whole lot. But I personally don't like it just because I don't like how I have to chase down the enemies that survive that get thrown across the room or something, which is a very often occasion. Even though I personally don't like it, it's functional and it fits the Warframe really well. Her parts can be made in the Tenno lab of a clan dojo, which could be either a really good thing if you're in an active clan, or a nightmare if you're in a dead or borderline inactive clan. I think her 1 can be repurposed into a channeling ability, like you press 1 and hold it or something and she'll just consistently fly forward in whatever direction in a jet stream, that way she's like faster than Titania still. There's no getting around it. Her 2 needs to be completely replaced. I don't see how that can be saved unless it's just drastically damage buffed. And her 3 and 4 are honestly fine, they can be left alone. So overall, she's a very functioning frame, just her 1 and 2 really need to be adjusted because really all she has going for her is her being more bulletproof than Mesa. Moving on, both Zephyr and Vauban have it really good compared to the poor soul on number 1, and that is
Anything you can be, I can be greater. Sooner or later, I'm greater than you.
Atlas. Oh, Atlas. It became pretty clear this guy was going to be number 1 after so many people mentioned they forgot he was even in the freaking game. This Warframe had literal mountains of potential and they did nothing with it. He literally controls the earth. He's an earthbender, and his shtick is that he punches things, he makes small walls, cosplays as Medusa, and summons 2 rock people. His 1 is Excalibur /dash, but worse. His 2 is Volt's shield, but worse. His 3 is Inaros' 1, but worse. His 4 is Necros' 4, but instead of, multiple minions, he can only summon 2 of them that barely do anything. You might have noticed I'm using other people's footage for this section. Well, that's simply because I don't have the sorry bloke. You get him by farming the literal worst boss in the game that nobody wants to fight. It's so broken and buggy, and to top it all off, it's an Archwing mission. And we know how much everyone loves Archwing. My Archwing stuff isn't good enough to kill it solo. And to top it all off, I am not paying 275 platinum for this guy. Do you know what 275 platinum can get me? 13 Orokin reactors for 13 better Warframes. I don't think too many people would argue that he's in a really bad place right now. A lot of people would argue that his 1 is his best ability, and I kind of agree, so honestly it could be left alone. His 2, honestly, just replace it. We already have 3 Warframes that can make walls, we don't need a 4th. Maybe make it a boulder that bounces off walls and deals more damage per bout. I don't know, I'm just throwing an idea. Maybe make his 3 cone cast ability that instantly petrifies enemies and leaves them vulnerable to some kind of multiplier like criticals or elemental damage. And for a 4th, maybe instead of summoning 2 golems, maybe you could become the golem. Like an exalted weapon ability where you have boosted armor and do bonus impact damage. I don't know, again, like I said, I'm just throwing ideas, but honestly for this Warframe, anything can work. But yeah, that's Atlas in a nutshell. So that does it for this list. Once again, this was all made possible by you guys giving me your suggestions. I just put my opinion to it. And again, if you think any of these frames are fine and don't need any work done to them, that's fine. If you like it, I'm glad for you. Don't let me stop you from having fun. Well, there you have it. Do you agree? Disagree? Somewhere in the middle? Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a video idea? Feel free to share. Thank you all so much for watching. Okay, bye.